After a month-long standoff between the Buffalo mayor and the city's comptroller, a judge ultimately decided Barbara Miller-Williams, the comptroller, needed to release tens of millions of dollars in capital bonds approved earlier this year by the Common Council.
Now, the question is, what was the damage that was done as a result of this inaction, and also what is next? Joined now by Fillmore District Councilman Mitch Nowakowski. Mitch, thanks for being here. This has been a frustrating process. Nonetheless, I think both sides would agree this has been a frustrating process. Now that it is over, I'm going to ask, how are you feeling, and is the city in any better shape financially?
So as the finance chair, I am and was a petitioner in the court case against the comptroller, and the City of Buffalo Common Council last December, our charter responsibility was to pass and dispose of a budget. This was larger than normal because we are the bonding authority for the Buffalo Public Schools. So $55 million of that was actually for a school for Leonardo da Vinci to move to Buff State. 97% of that $55 million is reimbursable by the state of New York. And then the other things that we took out were bond anticipation notes. These are infrastructure projects like Jefferson, Main Street, their fire apparatuses, community centers, streets, lighting, infrastructure that we need every day came to a screeching halt. We missed a complete construction season. People were put out of work because we didn't have more work to be bidded out, and it had global ramifications. And it was really, although I'm happy we won, I feel embarrassed that we had to go to a lawsuit to tell elected officials what their chartered roles are.
I mean, how many years will this take you guys to recover?
I mean, now to rebid out that work, it's going to be more expensive. The cost of materials, the economic conditions are going to be more expensive. We now have to pay top lawyers that had to defend us, and then now we will have to pass a budget in December. So potentially when the city goes back out to market, we're going to have two large capital budgets that will probably equate to a large balloon payment and repayment. It's ridiculous.
The normal process of this is the Common Council sets the budget. They say, we want to spend this amount of money, and here are the projects we're going to tackle in the coming year. By city charter, the comptroller is supposed to effectively sign off on those and then send them to market. Basically, go get the money to build the roads. It is at that point that the comptroller, Barbara Miller-Williams, said, I'm not going any further. A judge said what? What was her wrongness in that approach?
The judge stated that the comptroller prohibited me from exercising my full duties as a Common Council member. The legislative body is the disposing body.
Common Council.
The Common Council. And so 9 members, we all put our district's priorities in this capital budget that we hear from our residents every day. We vote on it to get those funds, and the comptroller is supposed to go out there, and the judge found her failing to do her duty as an elected official.
You had to go to outside counsel for this. What is the price tag for that? Because city taxpayers are going to pay that now, too.
Terry Connors is one of the top attorneys in town, so I'm sure we're going to get a sizable bill that had to go into court, but ultimately I will quantify that because taxpayers need to know how much this frivolous lawsuit ended up costing them.
The judge made the decision. This decision was handed down last week. Have you heard from the comptroller? Have you heard from her office? And if so, what are the next steps? We're literally starting to get some of these projects off the ground.
I have not heard from the comptroller. I have heard that she still has no comment at this time. And ultimately, the judge in his decision is making her sign those documents that ultimately will go down to the bond market. And she said that she might have an appeal, but an appeal now will even cost even more money. And ultimately, how do you then argue to the taxpayers to cost them more money for another lawsuit?
I mean, we don't have her sitting here to get her side, but we can, go and get that side down the road. What do you feel about her and her duties and competency at this point now?
Madam Comptroller, we don't need to have a judge to tell you what your elected duties are. They are stated within the city charter pretty clearly, and the Common Council and the executive are the two the two bodies that ultimately run City Hall, and the comptroller is the one that facilitates those funds, and ultimately the taxpayers are at a loss, and I'm sad for them.
We have spent the better part of the past hour and 20 minutes talking about this incredible streak of weather that we have been under. Plenty of work getting done in Western New York these days, but because of where we are, that weather is going to turn. How much time do you have to legitimately get any work done before it just gets too cold?
I really think we lost out completely on the whole construction.
The entire year?
I do. Yeah.
So no construction in 2025 because of this decision or inaction?
Correct. And think about it. Once the comptroller ultimately signs those documents, it's going to take a month to go to bond council and bond market to get that all approved. By the time we're signed, sealed, and delivered, and that money becomes liquid cash, we're talking November or December. We miss the whole season.
You mentioned one. You mentioned a bunch of different projects. Can you give me one specific example? You know, people calling your office saying, "I wish you could do this." One example of a construction project that just will not get done. That's a bit of an eyesore in the area.
I was in my district at a club. Told me that if his street did not get paved, he was going to chip his tooth again while driving it. So a lot of it is infrastructure work and lighting, community centers that need to get fixed, roofs that have programming for seniors in there. So a lot of it came down to nuts and bolts infrastructure work. But think about it, fire apparatuses. Sure. We have our police and fire departments that are facing emergencies every single day, and we want them to have top equipment to make sure that they keep Buffalonians safe. Ultimately, we have to wait when we were purchasing those equipment now.
A lot of projects will not be done. This is an issue that is, quite frankly, right at the beginning of it. We're going to continue to cover it. Thank you very much, Fillmore District Councilman Mitch Nowakowski. Appreciate it, Mitch.
Thanks for having me.